Circle A has a radius of 3n, and circle B has a radius of 129n, where n is a positive constant. The area of circle B is how many times the area of circle A? Let's work them out. For circle A, start off with the formula, then we substitute for r, and the radius for circle A is 3n. Then we square the radius. So we get 9 pi n squared, and we repeat the procedure for B. And now to find out how many times bigger, it's a percentage question, so we simply divide 16,641 by 9, and we get 1849, which is choice D. Comparing the radius of the two circles 3n to 129 will not yield the correct answer because it has to go through the procedure of being squared. The frequency table summarizes the 57 data values in the dataset. What is the maximum data value in the dataset? Well, the maximum value is 14 and it occurs 6 times. A circle in the xy plane has a diameter with endpoints 2, 4 and 2, 14. An equation of this circle is x minus 2 squared plus y minus 9 squared equals r squared, where r is a positive constant. What is the value of the radius? Here's a diagram of the circle with the diameter. Looking at the endpoints, we see that the diameter has a length of 10 units. Therefore, the radius must be 5 units. The measure of angle r is 2 pi over 3 radians, and the measure of angle t is 5 pi over 12 radians greater than the measure of angle r. What is the measure of angle t in degrees? In order to do this, we need to convert both of the angles into degrees, and since t is the sum of the two measures, then we'll just simply add them together. To convert from radians into degrees, we multiply by 180 over pi. And then we simplify pi going into itself once. Then we multiply straight across. And we get 360 over 3 and 900 over 12, which are 120 degrees and 75 degrees respectively. And we simply add them together, which gives us 195, which is choice C. So we have a certain town has an area of 4.36 square miles. What is that area in square yards of this town? So 1 mile is 1,760 yards, but I can't just multiply 4.36 times 1,760. I have to find out what each side is. And if I use a calculator, I have 4.36. I take the square root, that's one side, and then I multiply by 1,760. So I get 3674 for each side. So if I square that, that gives me the square yards, and we see that that is choice D. For line H, the table shows 3 values of x and their corresponding values of y. Line K is the result of translating line H down 5 points in the xy plane. What is the x-intercept of line K? So we're going to use the slope-intercept formula. So in order to do this, the first thing we have to do is use 2 of the points to find the slope. So when we're setting up our x1, x2, y1, y2, the bigger x is the x2. So our x1, y1 is 18 and 130. Our x2, y2 is 23 and 160. So we write the formula for slope as rise over run. So it's a difference of the y's over the difference of the x's. Then we substitute. y2 is 160 and y1 is 130. x2 is 23 and x1 is 18. So when we subtract, we get 30 on top and 5 on the bottom. So our slope is 6, so we replace the m up top. Now we need to find b, And in order to do that, we'll take one of the points. So I'll use 18 and 130 and substitute those values in to solve for b. Next, I simplify. And then I subtract 108 from both sides, which gives me a b value of 22. So the equation of the line h is y equals 6x plus 22, but line k is moved down. It's translated down 5 units, so I subtract 5. So the line k is y equals 6x plus 17, and in order to find the x-intercept of k, I need to find where y is 0, so I set it equal to 0. And then I solve for 6, I subtract 17 from both sides, and then I divide both sides by 6. So the x-intercept is going to be minus 17 over 6, and the y is 0, and that is choice D. In the xy plane, the graph of the equation y equals minus x squared plus 9x minus 100 intersects the line y equals c at exactly 1 point. What is the value of c? Well, in order for this here is y equals c. This is going to be a horizontal line with some number. So the first thing I want to do is I want to graph this. During the test, you'll have the use of a graphing calculator. So I'm going to use Desmos. This is Desmos, and you get to this screen by selecting Graphing Calculator. And over here, you simply enter the equation that you want. Once I have this entered, my graph is then going to show the equation. And what we're looking for is the line that is parallel to the x-axis. And in order to find that, I just need to know what this point up here is. And if you click anywhere on the graph and just move up till you get to the inflection point, we get minus 79.75. So coming back to our answers, minus 79, well, B can't be correct because it's not that. D would be minus 4.5. That wouldn't work. So it's one of these two. So using a calculator, I'm going to test the two. So I have 481 divided by 4. And that gives us 120.25. So obviously that's not right. The only remaining one is C, which is going to have to be the answer, but we'll check it anyway. So we're looking at 319 divided by 4. And we're getting 79.75. So C is the correct answer. For each real number r, which of the following points lies on the graph of each equation in the xy plane for the given system? The first thing that you need to observe in this system over here is that if I was to multiply each of these numbers by 5, I would get 10x plus 15y equals 35. So any of these points that satisfies one equation will satisfy both. So let's just work with 10x plus 15y equals 35. I'm going to substitute the coordinates from choice A to see if that satisfies the equation. Once I substitute, I go ahead and distribute the 10 and the 15, and then further simplifying the fractions. So at this point, we don't even need to continue because we can see that these two sides are not equal. So these two coordinates do not satisfy the equation. Moving on to B. So I've substituted the coordinates given in B, and now I'm going to distribute. Now I simplify the fractions. And the minus 15r and plus 15r add up to 0. So here we see choice B satisfied both equations. The perimeter of an equilateral triangle is 624 centimeters, and the height of this triangle is k radical 3 centimeters, where k is a constant. What is the value of k? Well, the first thing that we should do is draw a diagram. And we know that the height is k radical 3. Since this is an equilateral triangle, each of these angles in the corners are 60, and the height of the triangle splits this to be a 30, making this one over here 90, so this is a right angle. So this is a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. Since I know that the perimeter is 624, and each of these sides is equal, this one must be 208. This must be 208. And this side down here must be 208, making this one 104. So this value over here, this is K. This is 2 times K. And this side over here would be K times radical 3, or 104 times radical 3. In short, what this question was asking is if you understood that the sides of a 30, 60, 90 right triangle are 1, 2, and radical 3. So if this was 104, this one was 2 times that, and this one was 104 times this. So K was 104 units.